You all already know the reasons why you should move to Germany. It's Europe's biggest economy, it's got great public transport, and of course the healthcare.
Of course, but today we're here to tell you the real reasons why you should move to Germany. Hi, I'm Geoff.
And I'm Alex, and we're two Americans who have been living in Germany for over 10 years, and we're here to share our experience of what it's like to live in Germany with you.
Absolutely, but first, if you can, go ahead and hit subscribe down below so you can get cool videos like this. And why not, by the like button, a bottle of Hinch Irish whiskey. You know what? He just found a quarter in the street, an American quarter in Berlin. What are the odds of that?
Pretty weird.
Pretty cool.
And today we're talking about the more undisclosed reasons of why you should move to Germany. Not just the big ones we all know, we can read in every blog.
Right, these are the real reasons.
These are real reasons, these are real stuff.
Yeah.
I think the first one is, as much as we do talk about how hard German is and can be, and lots of people talk about that as well. The German language is actually fairly easy for newcomers if you are coming from an English-speaking country, I believe.
Absolutely. Now, what you're saying, you're probably thinking, what if this was 10 years ago and I was watching this video, I'm thinking like,
you're wrong.
Learning German is not easy. And yes, becoming fluent in German or in any second language at our age or any age
It's hard.
Is hard. But the beautiful thing about German is, compared to especially to English, it has such a strict set of rules that as a newcomer to the language, it's a great second language. And
100%.
And that's why it's on our list of reasons you should move to Germany, because wherever you move abroad, you're most likely going to have to learn a second language. And there are several reasons why German is so easy. And one of them is, okay, you see German in movies or whatever, and you see these long, long words. And you're
Super long words, like 25, 26 letters, the whole alphabet in a word.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're like, that's crazy. How could you possibly know? Most of these words are just made up of 2 or 3 or 4 smaller words, you know? And so even if this is a word you've never seen before, you can look at it and go,
that makes sense.
And then you know, oh, I know. And a good example is, I remember the first month I was learning German, wee little young Geoff, you know.
Wee little Geoff.
In his early 20s, learning German in Berlin. And I'd only been there for a few weeks, and we were reading a little story. And at some point in the story, the word Handschuhe came up. Handschuhe.
So Hand is hand.
Hand.
Schuh is
shoe.
Shoe.
Just spelled different.
Wait. Hand is hand. Shoe is shoe.
Yeah, and we hadn't been taught this word before, but in half a second I was like, hand, shoes, gloves, because in the sentence she was, you know, going outside during the winter, and I was like, brilliant. And there's so many words in German that are like that you can figure out on the spot without being taught them, as long as you know those basic words, the basic vocabulary. On top of that, there's a lot of German words that look almost exactly, or sometimes exactly, as their English counterpart, and that's because English, is a West Germanic language. So Wasser means
water.
And to swim in German is
schwimmen.
So like there's a lot of words that you could just guess off the bat, and that's why we're saying German, a great language for a newcomer.
It is, and one more little thing there too is, when you're learning another language, you have to learn how to read, how to write, all these things. And German makes a lot of sense. So it's pronounced exactly how it's spelled, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you memorize how to say each of the letters A, B, C, D in German, then that pronunciation sticks for like 95% of German words, which is very different than English, where pronunciation is all over the place and there are very few rules that govern anything.
And English taken from Latin, from German, from all these
French,
languages.
For everything. Yeah. So learning English 10 times harder than learning German, in my opinion. So that's number 1.
I agree. Now, before we go to number 2, should we have a drink?
Ooh, that's better.
There it is.
Cheers.
Now, for number 2,
wait. Shouldn't we bring Jenna in on this?
We should. Here's Jenna from the Life in Germany YouTube channel.
Let's go. Eating healthy. Eating healthy, I mean, you guys can definitely vouch for me when I say this, is a lot easier in Germany.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, the grocery stores here are generally quite small compared to North America. So it's a lot easier when I'm just going through the aisles and you see like 5 different cereals, or they call it muesli here in Germany, you know, and you have many, like, you don't have as many different options as you do in North America. And there's not these like cartoons pasted on every single different cereal box, for example.
True.
That's a very good point.
All these brightly colored, like rainbow boxes everywhere.
I do miss the mascots, though. You know?
Yeah, they were kind of fun.
But you can't say no. Like, even as an adult, you're just like, that looks good. Or like they promote it as healthy and you're... And then on the other end of things, you know, you go out to a restaurant and you're clearly there to indulge. So like you're going to get the craziest thing on the menu. And in Canada, for example, you go and you're like, okay, do I really want dessert? Let me check it out. And you're like, okay, caramel, smoked apple, ice cream, French vanilla, whatever, drizzled in this and that and sprinkles on top. And you're just like, okay, you know, I'm going to do it. Whereas in Germany, it's just like, Apfelstrudel mit Vanillesoße. And you're just like,
Okay.
You know, standard, same old, same old. I'm not going to indulge. And it's just so much easier here to eat healthy subconsciously. Like, you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and also when you think about it too, the prices in grocery stores for produce and healthy food is, at least in the United States, is way cheaper in Germany than it is in the States.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm assuming the same in Canada.
not right now because of inflation and everything, but normally tomatoes and this, that, and other thing is going to be half price of what you get it in California or Rhode Island or wherever in the
100%.
US.
Even still, even with inflation.
Yeah.
This is one situation where a lack of selection is actually a good thing, because when you go in those aisles and you just have 1,000 beautifully crafted, sugary craziness, you know what I mean? Like it's hard, like you know how unhealthy it is, but it looks all so beautiful, and of course you're going to grab a few things. Whereas here it's we have sugary stuff, and of course we have fast food, we have this stuff,
Right.
but just a lot less of it. So it's just, like you said, easier to stay, you know, a little healthier.
Stay a little trim.
Yeah. Fewer calories, yeah. So, number 3, for reasons that you should move to Germany.
Yes.
And as I'm holding a 2 in my hand,
Number three.
Number 3.
I think a big one would be safety. Germany is, even though it's a giant country with, 12 big major cities, big for Germany, it's a fairly safe country to live in, and Berlin, being the biggest city in Europe, is a fairly safe city.
Yeah, I mean, Berlin has the highest crime rate in Germany, unfortunately, for the big cities. But when you compare that to large cities in the US, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, etc., it seems like a small dwarf, like a village in comparison. And we're not going to give too many stats, but just to show the safety of USA versus Germany, and these are very unfortunate stats, but you know, last year alone, there were over 600 mass shootings in the US. In Germany, there were 2. So, big difference. Last year alone in the US, over 21,000 murders occurred. In Germany, only 200. Now, of course, you can say population size is different, but the German population is only a quarter of that of the US. So even if you multiply everything by 4, you go from 2 mass shootings to 8. Not quite that 600 number. So it's just very obvious. You're just safer. Now, compared to Canada, do you feel much safer here than you do walking the streets in Toronto or Vancouver or wherever you happen to be?
It's Quebec.
Yeah.
Quebec. I don't know much about Canada.
Montreal. Just naming off cities I know.
That's okay. We don't live in igloos. No. Funny enough, I just posted a video last week about this, and that's because I was talking about children's safety. And I'm always super shocked myself that I say this, but I do feel super safe in Germany. And I have to say, like, Canada compared to America is also much safer country. And if you compare the stats of Germany and Canada, sometimes Canada still comes up on top of Germany. But there's something to be said where, like, here in Germany, you know, kids roam the streets here. Like, they go to the bakery and they get their fresh bread for their family all by themselves. And I think it's really cool, the independence that the kids get here, because it's so safe.
Yeah, and it's definitely part of the culture. I'm a kindergarten teacher, so I work with a lot of parents very closely, and we really talk about children's independence. And where in Germany, it's a lot more of let your child be their own person and trust them and let them trust themselves. And I think because of the way public transport's set up, the way they have nice sidewalks, all the infrastructure and the safety really does kind of benefit the child, so they have the opportunity to be independent people.
And obviously parents would not allow children to have this kind of independence in Germany if Germany was unsafe. If this was downtown Chicago or something like that, kids would not be roaming the streets as we see in Berlin or in Munich or wherever. So Dusseldorf.
Dusseldorf.
Yeah. So Jenna, number 4, what do you got for us?
All right, I'm going to turn a negative into a positive here. A lot of people say, Germans are super grumpy and Germans are super rude. And you do have to build a bit of a thick skin while you're living in Germany. I have to be honest. It is true.
Yeah.
The first couple of years, you guys probably can agree, are quite tough to, get into the groove of things.
Yeah, trying to figure out the psyche of the German, it takes some time. Yeah.
Exactly. And for me, I've been able to, at some point you have to speak up and be like, okay, like you're being rude, or like, it's not okay to say that. Like I got screamed at once for walking my dog, and it wasn't even my dog. I was babysitting a dog, and the dog was too close to that person and they were uncomfortable with it. And there was a huge sidewalk and I didn't realize, but they just yelled at me. And my response in German was just like, you could be a little nicer, and just like remind me, hey, can you keep him on a tighter leash, please? But instead they're just like, bist du mich verarschen? Like, why are you so close to me? And I'm just like, and eventually, yeah, you learn how to speak up. And I think like living in Canada, I never really had the opportunity because we all kind of beat around the bush. I love my like idioms here,
I mean, in America, the same. I mean, there's so much bush beating, it's insane.
Yeah, I've grown a tougher skin.
How I talk to people, especially when I'm trying to get something done. I have like a complaint for a company. I'm trying to get something done.
Yes.
In the U.S., I don't know how you are, but me and a lot of people I know
beat around the bush.
You beat around the bush. It's a long email where you're trying to, because you're like, oh, if they know the whole context of the situation, then they're going to help me quicker. Yeah. So you're giving this like what you did that morning, what you ate for your cereal.
At your
like,
earliest convenience, please.
All this stuff. And then eventually my wife taught me, she's like, no. She looked at the email. She just like looked over my shoulder. She's like, no, that should be 2 sentences. You just say, I want this because of this. Done. And once I started kind of getting in that groove, I realized just they were expecting that. So it wasn't rude. It was just getting straight to the point, and things got done faster. So
no, that's, even at work, during meetings, I'm much more, this is the problem. This is how we can fix it.
Yeah.
You say what you mean what you say, and things go by really quick and very, to be a little, what's the word? Whatever.
Don't know what you're saying.
Efficient. And it works. And of course, I do miss some of that American, Canadian niceness, North American, friendliness. But I don't think Germans are unfriendly. They're just direct. And once you kind of get used to that, I think I'm into it. I'm here for it.
Me too.
That's a great one. Now,
let's do it.
Number 5.
I think a great thing with living in Germany, especially with the Vergleich comparison to living in North America, which is enormous, is that Germany is filled with a lot of really cool cultural events. So not just like your Oktoberfests, your carnivals, but also, like Berlin Fashion Week, the Berlinale, which is a giant film festival in Berlin.
Which is equivalent to Sundance or Cannes even,
Right.
Yeah.
Love Parade. A lot of, when there's concert tours going around the world, a lot of bands and artists will go to Germany, multiple spots. And if they're not in your city, you can get to that city very quickly and easily without a car. So with all the events and concerts, I think Germany's a great place to live because there's always something to do on the weekend, even if it's not in your city. Yeah. You can always get around incredibly easily.
Yeah, every month has several events. And like you said, in the US, say there's this huge event, but it's 3 states away. So how do I get there? It's a $400 flight or it's a 12-hour road trip. Whereas here, you can use our famous Deutschland ticket, which lets you go everywhere for free for €50 per month. Hop on a regional train and you're there in 2 hours, then you're back the same night, So
exactly, it's fantastic. Never get bored.
For number 6, the final reason why they should move to Germany, what do you got?
Well, I think we got to continue the topic of festivals and drinking, don't we?
Well, I mean,
nothing needs to be said anymore. So, public drinking in Germany. We all know it's a thing. Everybody's always very, very excited about drinking in public in Germany. And I don't drink a lot. I have 2 kids, so it's not like normal for me to go out anymore.
Fine, yeah.
However, there's something to be said that you can have festivals and parties, and there's so many of them, like you guys mentioned, but I think that there are so many because the rules are a lot more relaxed. Like in North America, if you want to have some sort of like beer fest or like, I don't know, play some live music on the grass in a park, you're not going to find alcohol anywhere unless it's like barriered off with like tall fences and like passes to get in and showing your ID card and everything. So
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
wine on the beach, and there's brands and companies just hosting events left, right, and center because you can drink in public here. And it's just nice to like go down to the beach here on the Rhine and have a glass of wine before I go to bed.
It's amazing. You're 100% right. And I think you made a good point. If you're trying to set up an event in North America versus in Germany, it's probably way easier in Germany just because you don't have to worry about all this logistical red tape of like setting up a beer area where you can drink with ID checks and all of these things and zoning laws. I don't know how it works. Where in Germany, you say, we're going to have a beer stand over there, and they say, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, and I think a lot of people who live in Canada or in the US, because they've lived their whole lives without drinking in public, and they're like, is it really? It's like, is that really that great? But I think one of the things I was thinking about the other day is that it allows you to go out without spending a lot of money. Because at least in the US, if going out means you're going to a bar or to a club or to a restaurant, and so you're spending $5 a beer or $15 for a cocktail. Whereas when drinking in public, you should be like with your friend, let's go have a beer in that park. And you go to a Späti or convenience store.
Exactly.
$1, $1.20. And, you have your beer and you're not burning a hole in your pocket. So like you don't have to be rich to go out on the weekend. And also it gives you an excuse to be outside rather than being stuffed indoors somewhere. You know what I mean? I mean, truly.
I'm not going outside without an alcoholic beverage in my hand.
No,
That's ridiculous.
You can just meet up at a park, and now you're outside, fresh air. I think it is a big lifestyle change. But it's hard to describe it.
Have you heard of the term Wegbier?
Wegbier, Fußpilz, I like a lot too.
Game changing.
Hey, you want to walk somewhere? We could take the Bahn. It takes 10 minutes. Let's walk for half an hour. Throw a beer on the way.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, weather's nice.
Make an event out of it.
Screw it.
You can eat healthy. You can get your exercise. You can drink your
eating
beer.
healthy, getting your exercise, drinking your beer on your way to your festival while safely walking through the streets. That's Germany right there.
Love it.
What more do you want?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't think of anything.
What a great place to wrap things up, guys. Those were the 6 reasons why you should move to Germany. And thank you very much to Jenna from the Life in Germany YouTube channel. Go check her out. The link is in the description below.
Thank you.
So if you guys are thinking of moving to Europe, why not try Germany?
Then Germany.
Think Germany. And also think of this.
I'm going to give this.
Where'd you look?
I was looking at the whiskey right there.
Hinge.
There it is. The Hinge.
The Hinge.
Irish
whiskey.
Out of 1 from 6, because it's 6 things, I'm going to give it a 4.5.
It's actually kind of exactly where I'd be.
There it is.
So tell them what they need to know.
Everyone, please stay safe, stay healthy, and of course,
stay thirsty.
That's it. Cheers.
Cheers.
You all know the reasons why you want biggest economy in Germany.
Today, we're here to tell you I wasn't ready for my part, apparently. Sounds pretty cool.
It sounds...
What?